Welcome to our first episode of Cancer Called How Will You Answer? It's been a long time coming because I've been going through a cancer journey myself. Today, on my first episode, I have my friend here, actually one of my best friends, also a supporter during my journey. Her name is Heather, and she's going to be talking to us about her thyroid cancer experience.
Yes.
So let's start by, that's why you test it. Let's start by you telling us when you were diagnosed or when you first found out about the thyroid cancer and when you were diagnosed, like what year?
Okay. So how it all started is, I think it was around September 2012.
Okay.
Somehow I was touching my neck and I felt like there was a lump in my neck. And I was like, is that new? Has that been there before? And I wasn't sure because how often do you go touching your neck like that, right? And so, like, I think that's a lump. So I made an appointment with the doctor and she felt it and she was like, yeah, there's definitely something there. And she sent me for an ultrasound and the ultrasound showed a bunch of different nodules on my thyroid, which is pretty common.
What type of doctor would you
That was
make an
just a
appointment with?
PCP.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people have thyroid nodules. I think.
Yeah, I have them too.
Yeah, I think something like 95% are benign. It's pretty common. So just with the ultrasound showing so many different nodules, she recommended I go see an ENT. So I went to see him, and he recommended just.
Oh, an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. And so he recommended just by the size of them, just let's remove your thyroid.
Okay.
Without knowing it was even cancer first, and I was like.
He just went right there.
Well, he's a surgeon. That's what he wants to do, surgery. So, and I was like, no, I want to know if it's cancer. Otherwise, I'm not gonna have surgery because it doesn't bother me, right? If it's just a benign lump, I'm not gonna go through surgery, right?
Yeah.
So, I was like, I'd rather just do a biopsy, and he was like trying to talk me out of it.
So basically, you're telling the doctor, test me more.
Right.
When he's a doctor, he should be. Everybody knows you get, well, not everybody, but most people that have gone through these experiences get biopsies.
Well, apparently thyroid biopsies can be
dangerous?
Unreliable because you could have a nodule that has heart cancer in it and they could not get it in the biopsy, do you know what I mean? So it could come back negative, but really you have cancer in part of the nodule that they didn't end up testing.
Oh. So
you could still have cancer and still have a negative result. So
that's why, scary.
Yeah, so that's why he was like, well, I would just recommend, I don't really recommend a biopsy, but anyways, I was like, no, I'm doing a biopsy. So I went in and did that, which wasn't super fun, having about 8 needles stuck in your neck. 8? Yeah. She took a lot of samples. And
oh dear. In one nodule?
No, I had.
You had multiple.
I had multiple ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, and then about a week later, I get a call from the same doctor asking me to come in for an appointment.
Well, hold on. Let me take a step back.
Yeah.
So, they do the biopsy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they have you lay on a table?
Yeah.
Are you on your stomach, on your back? Do they numb it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You're just laying there.
Because there's a needle going straight to your neck.
Yeah, they numb it, all different sides they shoot it up with.
They put you on your back or your stomach?
Or your back.
Okay. Were you scared?
Yeah, a little bit, of course. But it actually.
I mean, you're kind
bad.
of a rock star, so I didn't know if you would be scared or not.
It wasn't too bad, actually. Once it was numb, it wasn't a big deal. But
okay.
Yeah.
And so then, after they did the biopsy, you said how many weeks later?
It was probably like close to, maybe, I don't know, it might have only been a few days, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Pretty quick.
But then the doctor's office called and was like, we would like you to come in for an appointment to get your results. And I was like,
I had that call.
You're like, I got pissed because I was like, I just want to know right now, okay? But you're waiting.
Right.
And you're nervous and you're like, you just want to know. And I kind of got a little bitchy with the receptionist lady, and I was like, I want to talk to the doctor.
Like right now.
Right now.
I don't want to drive.
Like, I don't want to make an appointment. Just tell me right now.
Yeah.
I don't need to see you in person for you to tell me it's cancer or whatever.
Did they tell you to bring a person?
Yeah. And so she
that's
was
when
like,
you know.
Right.
Is that like so I'm gonna ask my viewers, like, is that a universal, I got cancer, or universal, there's a health issue with me? Because as soon as they tell you to bring someone, it's like they're not telling you to bring a person because you're going to have ice cream time or
Well,
an ice
right,
cream
and
social.
also
So what do
they're
they
not-
expect you to do?
Right, and also they're not going to say, we need you to come in for an appointment just so we can tell you you're fine, go about your business.
Right. So you already know.
already know.
Yeah.
It's so
I feel that.
stupid. It's like, just tell me, and then I'll come in for the appointment to discuss surgery. Like, why would you make me wait an additional day till I can get in for the appointment?
Right.
That's like torture.
Yeah.
Just tell me.
Go to bed. Go to bed.
I'm not like this.
You got cancer.
Right.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not this
that don't
fragile
work.
person who can't take the news without being in front of the doctor. Like, just
Right.
freaking tell me. Anyway, she wouldn't, and she's like, the doctor just left, and you know, I had to go in for the appointment, and brought my parents. He's like,
That's
well, it's
good.
cancer, and I was like, no shit, dude.
That was kind of me too. I was like, so what are we doing?
Right, right.
I knew that yesterday, but what are we
Yeah,
doing?
thanks for that.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, obviously scheduled surgery. I think it was like a week later on Halloween.
So they're not even
2012.
kidding. So they took you from, you have cancer. Let's take a step back, because your parents are sitting with you,
Uh-huh.
which I don't have kids. I don't have kids. You don't have kids, if you don't mind me sharing that. But
Proud not to have kids.
you would think, but you would think though, like, that's got to be tough if you're a parent to hear your child
I'm sure.
just got diagnosed with cancer.
I think they were more upset than I was because I had already figured that's what it was.
Yeah, you're kind of like me though. You're kind of like, okay, what are we doing?
Right, and I had already.
Because I
figured-
can't change it.
Yeah.
What's next, right? Did they cry or?
I don't think anybody cried.
Hmm.
I mean,
It
I had
was a
already.
blow though.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't want to deal with that, but I had already Googled it, and it's the best cancer to have if you're gonna get cancer.
Thyroid cancer.
Yeah.
Really?
It's-
Even though it affects like your hormones. And
Right.
stuff.
That's what people don't take into account. That it's like a very survivable cancer. Like hardly anybody dies of it, right?
Huh.
But nobody takes into account that once you have it and you have your thyroid removed, you're living without the most important gland in your body for the rest of your life. And I mean, if you don't have thyroid problems, you probably don't know everything the thyroid controls in your body.
Yeah, I have
But-
hypothyroid,
right.
so I got an idea
So
of what you're
it
saying.
controls
now.
your blood pressure, your metabolism, your heart rate, like
Wow.
your energy.
Y'all hear this? That's a lot.
Yeah, it controls so many different functions in your body. And, you know, then they're just like, oh, you just take a pill for the rest of your life. But there's issues that go along with that, too, because you have to find the right dose. And there's things that can change along the way that make you have to change up your dose. And
Yeah.
some people won't do well on one drug. And you still, like, I still have symptoms. Like, I still get really tired sometimes. And
Just from that pill. So I think, okay, so
it's
let's.
better to have your
Your
intact
thyroid,
thyroid
yeah.
gland than artificial supplements.
They're removing your body,
Right.
which is something that we do a lot of in this country is replace,
Yeah.
right? So let's definitely circle back around to the drug part. I didn't want to cut you off, but I definitely
no.
wanted to see how your parents took that.
Yeah.
So they diagnosed you that the next day. Well, technically they diagnosed you the next day, which was 2012. You said, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, let's schedule surgery in a week.
Yeah.
So take us from there.
Well, I wanted to get in as soon as possible and get over with. And so he's like, well, I have an opening next week and
Wow.
I'll get you in. And it was Halloween. So
That's different.
yeah. So went in and that
You'll
was
never
my
forget
first-
that. That's for
no.
sure.
It was my first surgery ever. I had never been
Whoa.
under general anesthesia.
Whoa.
So I was-
Seriously. That was
Oh,
your
yeah.
very first surgery.
Huh?
That's insane.
I never even had my wisdom teeth removed under.
I would
I
have been
had two
freaking out.
removed and I
Heather.
was awake.
I would have been freaking
I was
out.
freaking out. I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna wake up.
Oh my gosh. That's your first surgery. I thought this was like, you know,
No.
you're over 30.
That's my
right?
only surgery. I was
So
what,
I'm like-
34 at the time.
Yeah, I'm like, she's had something done. A lot of people surprisingly haven't been put to sleep in the sense of general anesthesia, not
Right.
put down, right? But to hear somebody going through that as their first surgery,
Mhm.
that's insane. Like, I don't even know how you.
I mean,
did freak
I was
heck
freaking
out.
I was freaking out. And then
I'd have been like, no.
what made it worse is like I'm back in. You know, you go back into pre-surgery or whatever, and they're getting the IV in you.
Yeah.
The nurse couldn't get the IV in my arm,
Huh.
so she like
Story of my life.
yeah, that happened too.
Yeah. All the time.
She jabbed me probably like 6 times. She blew out all my veins until she had to call the anesthesiologist to do it.
blew out your vein.
Yes.
Let's talk about how people shouldn't stab you 6 times.
She
Shout
just
out to
couldn't
the
do it.
nurses. If you can't get the vein, let's ask for help. Help is okay.
Here's the problem though, they want you dehydrated for surgery. You're not allowed to eat or drink anything, so that shrinks your veins to begin with.
Right.
So I already have small veins, like
Same
I'm small.
here.
So she was like, I'm like, are you kidding me? So finally the anesthesiologist came in and did it in the first try. But she ended up putting it in my hand right here,
And doesn't it hurt?
which hurt like
I have a
hell.
scar from surgery right now. Yeah, so I get it.
I ended up with phlebitis for 6 months after surgery.
Phlebitis?
Yes.
Okay, never heard of that. What is that?
So it's where one of the drugs they use irritated my veins, and so I had a ball right here in my hand, and then my veins all the way going up here to my elbow were sticking out like a rope.
I never knew
Like
this.
you could see the vein, and if I bumped the vein on anything that was sticking out, it hurt like hell. It was like super painful and tender for like 6 months.
What did you call it?
Phlebitis.
Phlebitis. Not phlebotomy. Phlebitis.
Yeah. So I ended up
I'm
with
gonna
that.
Google that because I really need to see what that looks like.
It was awful. I was afraid it was never gonna go away, but it did.
So you can't bump into anything. And this is after the surgery,
This is
right?
This is after all that.
But
Veins
But-
in my
but it
arms
didn't-
look like
it didn't flare up before surgery. It was
it was because of the IV and the drugs they used.
Jesus.
Yeah, some one of the drugs
just too
my
much.
veins didn't like for some reason.
I never knew that. Okay, so
So
then
anyway.
they got the IV in.
It's finally got the IV in. I went back and I guess apparently it took longer than my parents expected. He said I'd be out in like a couple hours, and I was back there for 3.5.
No.
And I guess my mom was kind of like, "What's going on? Why is this taking so
Yeah, I'm
long?"
freaking out
And
because
apparently there was just a lot of bleeding that he didn't expect or something, and my thyroid bled a lot or something.
okay, they having some issues.
I don't know.
We can't find the vein. We won't ask for help because again, help is okay. Then you get the anesthesiologist to get it in. Then you wind up getting a problem because something didn't go right, or the medicine, you had a reaction to the medication.
Yeah.
But then they have you on the table for way too long. So here's my thing though.
I mean,
They have you on the table. It's in your thyroid is in your neck. For those people that don't know where their thyroid is, you'd be surprised how many people don't even know they have a thyroid. So I'm calling that
you
out.
should be checking your thyroid at least every month or two, just feeling for bumps and stuff.
Yeah, and if you feel them,
And
call
drink
somebody.
water and swallow like this, so you can.
And then
see
you can feel it.
Yeah, and if you have a bump, you can see it sticking out when you swallow. So.
Oh dear, I never did it that way. She just found it by touching it, and then I did an
Yeah.
ultrasound.
Yeah.
So then they have you in the surgery room, but they have to cut you. Are they cutting you in your neck?
Yeah.
Are they cutting you in your chest? Or they have to go down your throat?
Right here, there's a little scar right here. It's
Oh,
about an inch. You
Right
see
on the
it?
neck. Yeah. Huh.
That's it. Somehow he got the whole thyroid out through that little.
Did they show you how big it is? I'm curious. Do you know
I
how
didn't
big it is?
I didn't get to see it, but I think the normal thyroid is like, shoot, I don't know.
Really?
Like 10 centimeters.
So they're taking
4 or 5 centimeters each lobe or something.
So they're taking the thyroid out, but they're also taking the nodules out because they biopsied the
The
nodules,
nodules are on
are
the
on the thyroid. So they took the whole daggone thyroid.
Yeah.
See, I thought they were like the thyroid caused nodules like
no,
to
it's
grow
on,
away from the.
No, it's the thyroid
You
covered
see,
in
that shows you.
nodules.
That's why I can't be a medical professional. I'm gonna just stick with like dealing with provider data. But anyway, that's a different story. So then you're in there 3.5 hours, and then what?
And also there's like, in taking the thyroid out, it's really super close to the vocal cords. So if
It's too much.
if the
You
sur-
really, I didn't know none of this
if
happened
the
to
surgeon
this
isn't,
girl.
you want a skillful surgeon, because if they mess up and accidentally nick your vocal cords, you could end up not having a voice for the rest of your life. So that's one of the complications that you're like, I hope I wake
Okay.
up being able to talk, right? But anyways,
This
so,
is, I really did, I mean, I knew you had thyroid cancer, I knew you had your thyroid removed,
Mhm.
but I don't think I realized, one, how serious it is, two, your vocal cords could be involved,
Mhm.
right? So, second opinion, you probably want a second opinion if you're looking for a skilled surgeon, because how do you even know? I mean, you're trusting
anybody-
people at
right?
this
You
point.
have to. You can't. What can you do?
I
It's
didn't know
super
about the
rare
vocal
that
cords.
you would not have your. That's a super rare complication because they're not able to they have to leave a little tissue on your vocal cords because they don't want to get too close. So they cannot take all of the thyroid tissue out. You're always going to have a little tissue left on your vocal cords, which is why a lot of people will have the radioactive iodine treatment afterwards because they can't take it all out because they don't want to cut your vocal cords.
So technically,
it fits right on your cord.
So technically, they're cutting out the majority of the cancer.
They leave a little
not
tiny
well,
tissue, which
Good
theoretically could end up
Still have
growing
cancer.
Right, or it could grow it if you have the tissue still in your neck. So
Okay, so I know you're going to get there, so we'll
Yeah,
keep going. So you come out of surgery, right? And 3.5 hours, mom's okay now because she
Yes.
knows you're safe.
Yep.
And then what happens? Are you in the hospital for a certain amount of time? Or?
just one night, and
We're laughing because we have this
We're
thing
gonna
here,
have
and the cat is going to
interference in a
definitely interfere. Okay.
that's kind of
Okay, so you're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
In the 3.5 hour surgery, mom's doing well, right?
Yep.
And after surgery, I mean, was it outpatient, inpatient?
I stayed in the hospital for one night.
Okay.
So after being in recovery for a little while, they gave me my room.
Because they will kick you out. And one night, she probably means 23 hours because at 24 hours, the insurance is like, bye, that costs too much. So 23 hours probably.
I don't
Give or
know.
take.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
because
don't
that
even
insurance
know if
is
it
no
was,
joke.
I don't even know if it was that because I got out of surgery at like 11ish or something in the morning, and I was out. I think before that, the next morning.
Before the next morning?
No, before 11. I would
Before
say.
11. So
I don't
it's
know,
still,
something like
that's why, because it's under 24 hours. I work for an insurance company. This is why I know this stuff.
I don't remember.
So it's under 24 hours. So
Okay,
still
so
one
yeah,
day.
one day. Yeah, and at first I couldn't. My voice was super hoarse, and I was like, I hope. They're like, that's normal because I guess for the thyroid surgery they use a larger than normal breathing tube,
Okay.
just because they're working in your neck.
Well, they in your, I can see why you would be,
Um,
hell, you're hoarse when you're not having your
Alright.
neck messed with
Okay.
because,
Cause the tube.
yeah, I kept going,
Yeah.
because they put that tube down.
But
there.
I mean, I felt great. I had no pain, and I started. This goes back to the phlebitis thing. It started hurting.
You started
the IV,
feeling in
like,
the hospital.
like excruciating pain, and I'm like, I need you to take this out of me right now. And so, I made them take the IV out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need morphine. Like they were giving me morphine. They're like, we can't give you any pain meds then. And I'm like, fine, I don't care. I'm
Because
fine.
you can't swallow.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
can
you
you
can swallow.
Can you swallow
Yeah,
already?
yeah. I was like, I don't need pain meds. I feel fine. So they took the
Warrior.
so I mean, I literally couldn't have the IV in. It was like
Yeah.
pain up my arm, and then I end up with the vein problem. So,
Jeez.
so they took that out, and I was fine. I think he did a really good job, probably injecting the anesthesia in my neck and,
Yeah.
and the pain meds in my neck, and I was. I
Or
was
you're
fine.
superhuman.
No,
Let's go with superhuman.
I give the surgeon credit.
He did something. Or anesthesiologist. I've had two
Yeah, either
really
way.
good anesthesiologists these last couple surgeries.
Yeah.
That's important because it's
Yeah,
like,
well, yeah, they keep you alive. So.
yeah, well, that and I guess that is important,
Yeah.
but also because some people get really sick from the
Mm-hmm.
anesthesia, and I'm one of those people.
Okay.
And so, like, you don't want to be miserable for being sick and throwing up every 2
Right.
seconds. On top of you can't eat. On top of your vein, like you're saying, is hurting you. You're uncomfortable. You're hot. Like it's too much.
I mean,
So-
I was lucky I didn't get sick, but the vein thing sucked. And also, another weird thing that nobody told me is I couldn't pee after surgery. I had to pee so bad because they had pumped me with so many fluids.
And you couldn't
And,
pee.
like, I couldn't pee.
Why?
I don't know. It's like, one
Did you
of
go
the
sit on the
drugs-
toilet and try?
Yes. And I, like, it's like one of the drugs, and they're like, that's pretty common. And I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this?
I guess that's why they say they have to put you under observation to make sure you pee, and depending on the surgery, to make sure you have a
Wow.
bowel movement before they let you leave the hospital.
Yeah,
Probably.
and like
that.
I don't know, you probably had to do this, but you pee in a thing where they measure your pee and
Yep.
stuff. So, yeah, I thought that was just weird because obviously I guess because
This is your first surgery. I forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm like,
But I also
yeah, it's always hard to
for-
pee
I
at
would
first,
assume
but
for a longer surgery they'd put a catheter in or something because otherwise you'd pee yourself, right?
well, they did have a catheter in you.
No,
You just didn't know it.
I don't think they did because I was full of pee when I woke up.
But that's because of the fluids. But But depending on how long you're in surgery,
Uh-huh.
they do put a catheter.
Right, that's
Because
what
the
I'm saying.
general anesthesia, you'll pee on yourself
Yeah.
if you have to pee. You don't know you're peeing.
Well, anyways, that was
This turned into a
disturbing.
pee conversation.
Anyways,
This is us though.
uh,
We're real. It's real conversation. So
I was super disturbed by that, and it was super uncomfortable. But finally, I think they gave me an Ativan, relaxed me or something. And
Yeah.
finally, I could pee, and I was like, okay. And then
is
I
that
worked.
just painful? You just
Yeah,
feel
you're
it.
like,
You can't
I'm
let
like,
go.
I can't pee. My bladder's gonna explode. Because after surgery, all like weird, anyways, in the
Yeah,
head.
buddy.
I was like panicking, like my bladder's gonna explode. And they're like, you're fine. No, it won't. You're fine.
I have vocal cords. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
But I gotta pee.
So it was fine. It worked out, and then
I'm glad it did.
got to order food.
And you just
From
took
the
that
TV.
and you went right on down through your mouth.
Yeah, I felt fine.
You
Other
ordered
than just-
food from the TV. Let's take a step
Yeah,
back.
didn't you?
Wait a minute. Were you in Scottsdale?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the truth. Shout out to the Honor Health.
Honor Health. Yeah.
How did I know? Shout out to Honor Health
Mhm.
in Scottsdale. I have a girlfriend that's in the hospital now with cancer complications, and they have like the best food. And you can order from the TV.
Yeah.
Like, who used to go to the hospital, order from the TV? Insane. Side note.
Yeah,
Okay.
the menus are on the TV. You just check what you want.
And it was
they
good.
Send it on
It didn't
over.
taste like hospital food to me.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
I
you,
just,
but
I
it
think
didn't
I
taste
just
like
got
to me.
soup and like steamed veggies or something. I was trying
I'm
to
here
think.
for it. So just shout out. Okay.
So yeah, and then the next morning, before I left, they had to take the drain out of my neck. I forgot to mention that. I also had a drain sewed into my neck right here with a little bulb. You had this with a little bulb.
The
on it.
drain.
Yep.
So with the
The
blood
little
in it.
bulb that
You
drained the
put that in
blood.
your neck?
Yeah, they
I
sewed
had that
it
in my breast area. For those that know, I have breast cancer.
Sewed
Had
it
breast
in with
cancer.
a couple stitches right here. And
Just too much.
yeah, but I got it out the next day, so it wasn't that bad. But imagine this. It felt like they were ripping my neck out, because
When they
just
pulled
pull
it
out
out,
of your
right?
neck.
And it's like a
long.
It's like what do you call the whirlwind, or it's like I don't know how to describe it, because it's tied around for your breast area. It's tied around your breast area, so or wound around your breast
yikes.
area. So I can only imagine if it was in your throat and they pull it out and you just feel it unwinding from around your throat. I know what you're talking about. It's
Yeah,
just
it was
like-
gross.
They're like, "Are you ready?"
Yeah. Shoom, and then they pull out this big long. You're like, shit, that was in my
Right.
neck.
Insane. Don't ever do that
Gross.
again, is what I said. But
Yeah.
I didn't have to have it the second time, thank God.
So anyway, then I went home and
So then you recovered
Mhm.
from the surgery.
I
But
mean,
then-
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
It was super easy surgery. I was recovered. Like I was like ready to go once I got out of the hospital. I'm like, I had my mom. I had a couple pet sits to do. I have my own business, pet sitting business, and I had work. And I was like, I couldn't. You're not supposed to drive, right?
Yeah.
Because you just had anesthesia. You're supposed to not drive for days. So my mom drove me to my jobs, and I worked.
The next day,
The
or
next day.
okay, so that was an easier. So I'm surprised you did that, even though you had anesthesia the day before. Technically, it was 2 days. No,
Right.
that's within 48 hours. You're working,
Yeah, I wasn't driving though. My mom drove me, and I was just
but still,
yeah.
like, good for you. That's because you're a hustler.
Gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, your own business. You gotta do what you gotta do.
So yeah,
So you recovered
yeah.
from the surgery. You're back at work.
Mhm.
So I recall us having some discussions about how you had to have radiation, which I'm preparing for next month. But your radiation is completely different than them,
Yes.
like shooting a beam at my breast
Yeah.
area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
So tell us about that.
So about a month after surgery, if they recommend it, you get radioactive iodine treatment.
Radioactive iodine.
So once my pathology report came back after they did, the pathology report on my thyroid that they removed,
Yeah.
it came back as there were 7 different tumors. All of them are cancer.
What? All 7?
Yeah, the largest one was like 4.5 centimeters, and then there was another one that was 2 centimeters, and that's pretty big if you consider one lobe of your thyroid is only like 5 centimeters. So I had one whole side of my thyroid was basically cancer, That's huge.
That is insane. I've heard of thyroid cancer and they find one.
Right,
not
right. No,
7.
it was covered in it. And so they're like, yeah, you should probably have the radioactive iodine just to be sure to annihilate any remaining thyroid tissue, and if any cancer went into your lymph nodes, it'll kill that off.
Okay, so let's tell them about lymph nodes, because now this is really interesting to me, because having breast cancer, your breast area is near your lymph nodes, and your lymph nodes are located in your underarm area.
Mhm.
So how would the cancer in your throat travel down to your lymph nodes?
You have lymph nodes all throughout your body. So you
Ah.
have lymph nodes here, you have lymph nodes in your groin, you have lymph nodes in your neck, you have lymph nodes in your chest.
I don't think I knew that.
So your lymph system is all throughout
Again,
your
why I'm not a medical professional and did not go to medical school,
Yeah,
because they were not ready for me.
Your lymph system is all throughout your body.
See, I always thought it was just right
No,
here.
no. Think of when you get a cold. Do you ever get sick and your lymph nodes under your chin get swollen?
You know what? You're right. I think I did know about here.
Yeah.
But not in your
Here,
breast
right here.
area, not in your groin.
Yeah, all in your groin, and they're in your chest too. Yeah, I don't think you can feel them, but like.
That's insane, and now I have to go research that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is why we're doing this. This is exactly why I want to have a YouTube channel and interview people with different types of cancer, so that we can help educate people with what we know based on our experiences and our journeys and the different people you'll see in the future, because you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
They don't teach you that in school.
Right.
Well, if they did in health class, I totally missed it. I was all about science anyway.
I mean, I have a science
Same.
degree, so I took a ton of science.
There you go.
You've
So-
also got lymph nodes right here above your collarbone.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Can you get cancer?
Yes, you can.
So then the cancer from your throat would have, I'll edit it out. So then you have lymph nodes right here.
Yes.
So the cancer from your throat
It could be
Could
anywhere in
have
your
moved to
neck,
these lymph
could be
nodes.
here.
down here.
It could be all in your neck.
Can it move down here though?
Some people get metastatic thyroid cancer that goes to their other places in their body.
Well, that's what I've heard. But I've always thought you got it because it was in your underarm area, and then it passed throughout. It can pass throughout your body to other organs and things like that.
Thyroid cancer or breast cancer?
Breast cancer.
Breast cancer again. Thyroid cancer, if it's very rare, but some people will have it metastasize to their lungs and their bones.
Yeah.
So
We might have someone that had bone cancer on our show. We'll see what happens with that. Rooting for that.
Yeah, but that's super rare. Most people, it's just in their neck. Either it's still in the thyroid or it's in the thyroid and also in the lymph nodes, like right in their neck.
Yeah.
So local metastases, not distant.
So then, thank you for that lesson in health, because we
Yes.
didn't know anything about lymph nodes. But so you were getting ready for this radioactive iodine,
Right. So
and what is it? Before you tell us how you received it,
it's
or do you even know what it is? Because nowadays we don't
It's-
know what we take; they just tell us to take it, and we do it.
it.
Just saying.
I don't do that.
She's like, I don't.
No. It's just it's iodine that's radioactive.
Okay.
I don't know how they make it, but
It's like a capsule?
nuclear scientists make it. It's in a capsule, yes.
So it's like a pill,
It's a pill, yeah.
but way stronger.
So the prep for that was to go off all thyroid meds for a month, which makes you super hypothyroid and makes you feel like absolute shit because you need thyroid hormone to survive.
Did you gain weight?
What?
Did you gain weight?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I don't really gain weight. You know me.
I always hear when it's hyper, people gain weight.
Hyper people lose weight usually. Hypo people usually gain
Oh,
weight.
that's right. I'm hypo.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gaining weight.
But
Okay,
it can
sorry.
be the opposite too. It just depends on the person.
Sorry, I had to know that.
No, it was only a month, so a month isn't gonna cause you to gain or lose weight, but it
Okay.
affected me. Like I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I remember one time I got up from sitting on the couch and I almost, it was weird. I thought I was having a stroke or something. I almost fell over and I had to like sit on the ground. It was weird.
Wow.
But they want your TSH to be really high.
TSH.
Mhm.
What is that?
It's a thyroid stimulating hormone.
So it's a hormone. TSH is a
Mhm.
hormone. Okay.
It's a pituitary hormone. So they want that to be really high so that your thyroid, any remaining thyroid cells will uptake the iodine really well.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so then you're
Offer this pill.
I was all supposed to be on a low iodine diet so that my body was starved of iodine for a
And
while.
how the heck can you track that?
Well, you can. There's
Like stuff, like the food you eat and stuff, does it say it has iodine?
No, but there's like a guide that you're supposed to go by. Like,
Oh.
there's certain things you're not supposed to eat. Like, God, anything processed with salt, because most things have iodized salt in them.
I like salt.
Any kind of seafood,
Like French fries? You can eat French fries?
maybe without salt. I don't remember all the restrictions, but
It's not worth it.
was ridiculous and stupid.
A whole month, right?
I'm not sure if they do that anymore. That was in 2012. I'm not sure if current guidelines say that's necessary anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it was ridiculous, and that went through Thanksgiving. So I don't really get to enjoy Thanksgiving.
I like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Sweet potato pie. Shout out to anybody that wants to make me sweet potato pie. Okay.
So I made it through the month, and my TSH, I had to get that tested before I took the pill to make sure it was high enough.
Right.
It was like, for anybody who knows, it was like 176, I think. It's supposed to, a normal TSH is like 1 or 2.
Hold on a second. So normal is 1 or 2,
Normal
and
is
yours
like-
was 176.
I think the normal range is like 0.5 to, they say like 4.
Oh, that's too much.
But I think it's 1 or 2 is probably,
And so they had to get that in order before you could take the pill?
yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
There's also shots they can give you, but my insurance wouldn't cover that, so
Yay,
instead of
insurance.
doing the starving yourself with thyroid hormone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I did that. Finally got there, got to get the pill. So I get there, and there's the nuclear scientist who has the pill, who's made the pill, and then there's the oncologist standing there, and they have this pill in like this freaking steel container, and they hand it to me, and they like go to the back of the room, and they're like, okay, and they give me a bottle of water, and they're like, okay, now you open it.
Do you see my face?
It's like, yeah, I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing. It's like being.
We're going to give you this pill that nobody wants to touch. We want you to swallow it and
Right.
do it with water.
Well, I mean, the thing of it is, the
Insane.
theory of
Yeah.
it is that people with healthy thyroids, if they were exposed to radioactive iodine, it would damage their thyroid.
Okay.
Because your thyroid
So that's
uptakes
why they hand
iodine.
it to you like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
they step back and they're like, you gotta open it. And I'm like, okay, can I like touch it? They're like, yeah, touch it real quick. Like, I had to put it in a plastic cup, and they're like, you just pour it in the plastic cup, and then you just put it in your mouth and drink that whole bottle of water and take it down. It's, you don't want to keep it in your mouth you just drink it down. So I'm like, oh, this is so.
Because it's radioactive
Yeah.
iodine.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So I was like, oh my God, what if I choke on this? What if I drop
Yeah.
it? What?
I would have freaked out. I would have been like, first of all, I don't want to touch it. Can't you just use something to put it in my mouth? Why would I want to? Why do I want to take it? I mean, seriously. I guess you don't have a choice.
It's like
I
chemo.
get
Why
it.
would I want to put this poison in my
Yeah.
veins? Right.
I mean, you get to the point where you have to make that decision.
Yeah,
Shout out
I
to
mean-
anybody that's had chemo or radioactive iodine.
Right.
But like,
I mean, I didn't have to do it, but they
but
were
your
like,
mind though is still freaking out.
oh
You're
yeah.
like, if you don't want to touch it, what the hell are you giving me?
So
That's
then the aftermath will be even more freaky for you if you think that's freaky. So
Oh,
I took
gosh.
the pill. I'm sitting there. They like whip out the Geiger counter and measure how radioactive I am, and the guy's like, "Ooh, she's hot," and I'm just like,
I mean, you're cute
like
now,
hot, like
but
no, like hot, like radioactive, and I'm like, well, yeah, jerk, I just took this fucking pill you gave me. It's
Right.
radioactive. What do you think? So then they give me gloves. They're like, put these gloves on, and
after you took the pill,
yeah, because
why not before?
in order to leave the place,
Yeah.
because I'd be touching doorknobs, because they don't want any of that getting out.
It works that quick.
Apparently, I don't know.
And you think you would have to digest it and it would have to break down the pill,
I
but
mean,
okay.
Well, just to be, I don't know, just to be
Safe.
cautious, I guess. So I had to go out with gloves and go out the back door. I couldn't go
They
to the lobby.
treated you like you were a prostitute.
Like I was.
You can't go
diseased.
through the front. You're gonna have to go through the back. And wear these gloves. We don't want
yeah,
your dirty
because
self to touch anything.
They don't want you being around any people with, I could just damage somebody's thyroid giving off radiation, right? Because I'm radioactive.
That's insane.
Isn't it
You just
insane?
don't even think of that
I know.
ever.
So I'm driving home with the gloves on,
Yeah.
and I had to stay at my parents' for a week because you're supposed to be isolated. You're supposed to stay in isolation for a week.
So you already did the COVID thing, right?
Oh,
Pretty much. That's like nothing.
even worse.
Mhm.
So I couldn't come home to where my cats were because I would expose them to radiation.
They're damn. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So I went to stay at my parents for a week.
In a room.
In a room where my mom would make me meals and leave them outside my door.
I'm sorry, that's not funny.
And
But it's the way I just think of you.
Yeah.
You know, we've been friends now for like what,
Mhm.
going on almost 7 years.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I just think I know your personality, you know mine. And you can picture me in a room. I'm going insane just going through the whole COVID lockdown. So I can only imagine you in a room and the people have to leave the food outside like you're the filthiest thing ever, and they don't want to come anywhere near you.
And then I have to put my garbage, like it had to be all like disposable garbage, and I had to keep my garbage in my room because my garbage would be radioactive because I was giving.
You had to
off
keep your
radio-
garbage in your room.
Mhm.
So you had to have a bathroom in the room then?
Yeah,
I
that was a
take
bathroom.
it.
It was my old room when I lived there. I
So
had a
you couldn't
bathroom
go. You
attached.
couldn't walk outside to go to the bathroom. You had to use the bathroom that was in the room with you.
Oh yeah,
This is insane.
so that I didn't radiate my parents.
So
And
what would
so-
somebody do? Like, let's talk about that for a second. What would somebody do that may not have that support, where they have a parent's house that has a bathroom in the room?
I mean,
What would they do? I mean, like, or somebody that is, let's just say somebody that doesn't even have a home, that had to get this type of treatment, they would probably keep them in the hospital. You think?
I don't
I'm
know.
just,
I don't
I'm
know
wild
if
guessing
I'm
here.
not sure. I guess it would depend on your insurance if they would cover you to stay in the hospital, but they don't want you in the hospital.
See, so like I'm bringing this up for purpose of discussion, like
They
later
don't want
on, or
you
maybe put it in the comments if you know, like what does somebody do that doesn't have that type of support? That's crazy.
I'm sure some places have the ability to deal with that, but then you're also radioactive, so people can't be coming in and out of your room in a hospital either.
Yeah.
So it's the same
From
difference.
one pill.
So
Now you're freaking me out about the radiation I gotta get.
I've
Like,
read that some people stay at a hotel, but I think that's pretty irresponsible because then once you leave,
it's in the
your
room.
radioactivity is still there. I mean, it has a half-life of I think a week. So every week it's cut in half. So even if you leave that room after a week, you're going to be leaving traces of radiation in there, and then you're going to be some unsuspecting people are going to be staying in it, the maids. So I don't think that's really.
So that kind of makes me wonder if people do it in the hotels. There's probably people
They
that are
could-
being affected by
They
that.
could do whatever I mean, nobody's regulating you. Nobody's saying you can't stay at a hotel,
But they regulate COVID.
right?
Mm.
But you can go spread radiation around in a hotel room.
Okay. Just saying.
Yeah.
Side note.
I know.
Mm.
So anyways, there's some side effects from the radioactive iodine. It gets uptaken.
Yeah.
It's taken up by your
Yeah.
salivary glands, and so it can affect your salivary glands. Some people have long-term problems with their salivary glands
Because they
of
took
it,
the pill.
because it damages it. So what you're supposed to do is suck on sour candy for a few days so that your salivary glands are constantly being emptied. So the radiation isn't just sitting there.
I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, and you're supposed to
Mm-mm.
drink like a ridiculous amount to flush it out of your body as
Like
fast
water?
Yes,
Yeah.
constant water to flush it out. I took like 5 showers a day because it comes out in your sweat. It's insane because you want it in there, and immediately once it's in there, it's sucked up by your thyroid and any thyroid tissue that's there.
Yeah.
It's also a treatment for Graves' disease with people who have a thyroid. It kills their thyroid.
Well, I guess why I'm like shaking my head is because I'm really amazed. You know, you told me you had this before and you took the pill, but
Mhm.
it's funny how in America, or all over the world, not just America, because I'm sure I'll have viewers all over the world, but it's funny how you just don't think big picture, right? Or what happens after the fact, long-term effects. So like,
Right.
you're talking about it's coming out of your sweat. Like, I was just sweating a minute ago because I was having a hot flash because I'm on an ovulation suppressor because of the chemo that I was on. So it would have been on my arm
Right.
because of the sweat, or on my neck, and you sitting this close to me, or the cat would have possibly been radioactive.
Oh no, yeah, I would have
Or
been
radiated.
I would have been
How would
radioactive.
you even say that? I don't even know.
Radioactive. I was
Oh.
radioactive for about a week.
And that's why you're staying in the room.
That's why you have to stay away from everybody. Yeah.
5 showers though.
I was, because I was like psycho about it. I'm like, I don't want this sitting in my body. Like,
Yeah.
I was drinking like a maniac, peeing like every 10 minutes
It's insane.
to get it out. Because all it needs is a second to be sucked up by where it needs to be.
And
And then
boom,
you
you're
want it
ready.
out.
Yeah.
Then you want the rest out, right?
Yeah.
Because it goes to your bladder. You don't want it sitting in your bladder. Yeah, I still worry about what could happen in the future from taking it.
I do too with chemo. That's a whole nother episode.
Right. What are you gonna
I might
do?
have to invite you back for that one,
Right.
since you've experienced the chemo. Everybody that we'll interview doesn't experience that. So.
I didn't have chemo though.
I mean, not chemo,
You mean
radiation.
Yeah.
But chemo is a whole nother discussion.
Oh yeah.
So,
Luckily, I didn't have to do that. But.
so you're in the room, you're doing the 5 showers, you're drinking water, you
Sucking
can't.
on candy.
Yeah, you're sucking on. I'll never let you live that down. I'll probably buy you sour candy just because of that. I have that crazy sense of humor.
Mhm.
So your parents, they're feeding you.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere,
Right. No.
And so, at what point after the week, like, what do? You gather everything because you've been living in a room
Right.
for a week. How do they get rid of whatever's radioactive in the room? Your mother's not going to sell her house. She's not going to demolish
No,
the room.
well, the thing with radiation is it decays. So,
Okay.
like I said, I think radioactive iodine has a half-life of about a week.
Okay.
So every week it gets cut in half.
I
So
see.
after a while, it's gonna be gone.
Okay.
So she just had to leave the room and not go in there for a while. And,
Okay.
But I don't remember what I did. I obviously took all my stuff with me.
Mhm.
I think I took my garbage and put it in their trash so they didn't have to, touch it or anything. And,
Yeah.
I think as far as I remember, I think my mom just left the room, like the sheets and everything, for a couple weeks before
Yeah.
she went in.
I'd have been
and cleaned.
scared too.
And then she
I
went
love
in
you and all, but
cleaned
I'd have
and
been
everything.
like,
Well, yeah, you don't. I think the only danger to people is it would hurt your thyroid.
Yeah.
You don't want
you don't
thyroid
want that.
damage if you don't have to have it damaged, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. Eventually, she cleaned it. It's fine.
So this is basically from the time you got diagnosed until you left your mom's was like what, 2-3 weeks total
No,
treatment? 2 weeks.
No. After the surgery, it was. I think it was like so. I think it was like right before Christmas. I had the radioactive iodine, so it was probably about 2 months.
Okay.
Because I had the month after the surgery where I had to
That's right.
do the diet and
To
everything.
get prepared for it,
Yeah.
and then you had the week in your mom's room. Okay.
Hmm.
Or you're not your mom's room, but in your mom's house, your parents' house.
So I guess it was probably about a month and a half.
Okay.
All told, because I did it super fast because I wanted to get it done because it was the end of the year and I
Yeah.
didn't want a new year with a new deductible.
Insurance.
You get
whole
it.
another episode.
Yeah. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I need this done now. It's December.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to do that for Christmas, but
Well, I have to say, you made the decision to take the radiation,
mhm.
and I think you had to make the decision. I guess you don't have to make the decision, but you made the decision to have the surgery so that they could remove it, so that you could be here. And I'm really glad you're here because she is my first friend that I met here in Arizona, and she's one of my besties. So,
Aw,
and
thank
I love you. And
Love you
I couldn't imagine not knowing you, or
Oh,
this happened. I
jeez.
mean, seriously, not knowing you. Now that I know you, and knowing that what you went through, and now I don't want to say unfortunately, because cancer. I got cancer because right. I don't know why. I got cancer because, and you're having to. You don't have to, but you're choosing to go along that journey with me. And so the reason I'm saying that is because I'm sure it can be tough for anyone that's dealing with someone that has cancer, both mentally, physically, emotionally. So looking back on your experience mentally, emotionally, would you change anything? How are you feeling? How did you get through it?
I mean,
Sitting in a room by yourself for a week, that's tough.
that wasn't even the hardest thing. I think just I guess if I would change it, I'd have more of your attitude because you're so positive. And
Thanks, friend.
I was.
I don't know how to do it some days. I think it's the support.
I don't either. I don't like.
I think it's the support.
I
really
kind of
do.
went the opposite way. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to be alone and get through it, and just kind of like be in myself and just get through it. But it was not as prolonged as your journey is. So
Yeah.
maybe it would have been different. I was just like, I want to just get this over with,
Be
and
done.
then I can go back to
Yeah.
being okay. But yeah, it's like, it's jarring to hear that you have cancer.
It
At
is.
our age,
You were
I was
34
34,
and I
you
was 38.
38, you don't expect that, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the hell did I do to deserve
Deserve
dealing with
this. You start questioning everything.
And-
Whether you're religious or not, you're questioning somebody. You're questioning the cat. You're questioning God. You're questioning the people on the street. You're mad at the people at the grocery store. I'm here to tell you, I don't know how you felt, but
Yeah, you're
I'm
like,
still angry.
I thought, like, you're like, there's worse people than me, and they've never had to deal
Right,
with this shit.
murderers and everything else.
Right,
But
there's people who live to be
child
80
molesters,
who are
everything
terrible
else.
people.
Yeah.
I know.
Are you angry still?
No,
Or were you
no.
angry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Of
definitely.
course.
Angry.
I'm like, this is not fair.
Yeah,
It's not fair.
yeah. But you
Right.
did it.
But what do? You deal with it as it comes, right? You can't.
I think strong people deal with it. And here's the thing, I don't want to take anything away from people that are not as strong as others, because everybody processes it differently, everybody handles it differently.
Mhm.
This is why when I did Cancer Called, that was how I dealt with it, right?
Right.
And also, that's why I always say, Cancer Called, how will you answer? Which you can't see my shirt, but it does say, Cancer Called, how will you answer? Here, how will you answer? Because I really want to ask that question to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for you answered it in a positive enough way that you were able to deal with it. You dealt with the anger. You went to the appointments. You did the treatment. You took the radioactive pill, and you were like, whatever, kick it its ass.
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't do that. But that's why I start Cancer Call, because I really want people to look at cancer in a different light and take it head on.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be the end, right?
Right.
You don't determine that it's the end.
Right.
Whether you're in your faith or not, you're not the end all. But you could be the end all if you choose not to fight it, right? I have to be honest. I don't think I told everybody this. I think you knew this. We've had this discussion, but I took on that attitude where I didn't have children, or I don't have children,
Right.
and I was divorced twice at that
Mm-hmm.
point, and I was over the whole relationship thing. So I was like, if I ever get cancer, I'm not gonna fight it, right? That was my whole attitude. And then my great husband came along, and I was just like, damn it. You're right? I was just like, damn it.
And it was like he came along right before this happened.
He came
right?
along right on time. I promise you, Heather, we had this discussion. If it wasn't for my husband, I wouldn't have been fighting. And some people might take that offense to that, but it's the truth. I didn't see a
Really?
reason.
You really think?
I didn't really feel I had a purpose. People tell me, my friends tell me, my supporters tell me, tomorrow you had a purpose, you raise children, or you help children and things like that, and all that set aside, it's great. But if you don't feel you have a purpose,
Right.
what's the fight for? That's what
Right.
life is. Life is, you're supposed to have purpose,
Mhm.
whether that be a pet mother, a mother, you help the elderly, you get up every day because you want to help children.
Right.
There's you get up for something. You get up for God. You get up for different things. That's why I said I don't want to take anything from people that don't handle it as well as others. But it's tough. Cancer's tough.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, shoot. Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of got on the sidebar, but I think it needed to be said that it's not easy.
No.
Um,
I
it's never going to be easy. Breast cancer is different than thyroid cancer. Bone cancer is different than lung cancer.
Mhm.
I can't wait to get some of these other people that we're interviewing on here so we can really get some discussions going. Cause
I mean, I'm gonna say I probably had the easiest
really,
journey. Yeah. I look at
That's
I
tough,
look
though.
at you and I'm like, the shit you've gone through. I'm like, God, I was such a baby about it, and it wasn't even nearly as
you're a
bad.
baby. You should hear me complain all the time.
You have a
At
right to
home,
complain.
at home. But I really think, I mean, this is what I think is great about friendship. This is what I think is great about social media and helping educate other people
Mhm.
through your journey, through your experience. Because
Yeah.
you're saying that to me, and I really appreciate it, and I love you for that, right? You know, because we're besties, we love each other. But when you're in it,
Yeah.
and you can attest to this, right? When you're in it, you're like, everything sucks, I don't like
Uh-huh.
anything, and I don't want to be. You say you
Right,
don't want to
right.
be here because you just don't want to be in the experience, not necessarily that you want to be dead.
Right.
But
yeah.
You don't want to be in the
You
experience.
don't want to be dealing with it. You
No.
just want your normal life back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like you being here and you doing the episode, and supporting me throughout my journey, not only as my friend, just as a common supporter
Mhm.
of wanting to make people better that have cancer. I mean, that's why I do what I do. I think it gives me strength, so I can't thank
That's
you
good.
enough for that.
Oh,
Do you
thank
want to share anything else with your experience or anything you want to tell our audience?
I mean, I guess I'd say though, once you're done with treatment, it doesn't end though, because
Yeah,
then after that, because people think, oh, you're done, you're fine, but then there's years of follow-up and testing,
yeah,
and you have to be afraid if one test comes back showing it's back.
and it could come back.
Yes.
Because thyroid cancer, it could come
Yes.
back.
It
Breast
could-
cancer can come
Thyroid
back.
cancer can come back years later, even like 10, 20 years later.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
It's like you're
I
fighting
mean-
it now, but you might have to fight it again.
Once you get to 5 years, they say it's pretty unlikely, even I think with any
I
cancer.
think they mentioned that, yeah.
The 5-year mark is you're pretty okay. It's pretty unlikely. But yeah, every time I would get an ultrasound in my neck following up, or get the blood test.
Yeah.
There's a tumor marker for thyroid cancer called thyroglobulin. Once you have no thyroid, it should be 0.
Huh.
And it has been for me since then.
Okay,
So,
that's good.
but if it were to go up, that means there's cancer somewhere, thyroid cancer somewhere in your body. So every time
Not
you wait,
necessarily in your neck.
no, it could be
That's
anywhere.
insane.
So yeah, every time you get those tests and you're waiting for those results, it's like you know your heart is in your stomach, waiting
I
to.
can't imagine. Because I'll be there with you.
Yeah, yeah,
So we'll be cancer sisters.
yeah. But after a while, after a few years of good results, you
Yeah.
get more relaxed about it, and you're
Yeah.
not so scared anymore. So it gets better.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great way to end on a positive note.
Yeah.
So can you tell our audience as well, do you have any side effects? Do you feel still, or I think you had mentioned something about, you had a side effect early on. I mean, that was 2012,
Yeah.
but after your treatment down the road, you were
Um,
tired or something like that.
I mean, it's the constant getting just from being hypothyroid yourself, getting your medication levels right,
Mhm.
and getting to a place where you actually feel good and normal on your thyroid medication.
Yeah,
That's it's just that's
it's a
something,
process.
That's
It's
something
like
that
an ongoing process.
oh yeah, that's something now that I have to deal with for the rest of my life because I need this pill to survive.
Yeah. Is it levothyroxine?
I take it's called Armor. It's
Armor, okay,
It's natural desiccated thyroid,
okay.
which I feel works better for me than because levothyroxine is the synthetic.
Yeah,
Armor's made from pig thyroid, so it has
an
all the
actual thyroid from a pig?
yeah, it has all the components your natural thyroid would have, whereas the synthetic doesn't. So
I never thought
yeah,
you would take a pig thyroid
that's how it's done.
to replace your thyroid
Mm-hmm.
so that you can have a long, healthy, happy life.
Yeah,
And I have to
hopefully.
say, you kind of living your best life. So
If you say
even
so.
after cancer, you can still have a good life, and still be happy and have great friends
Sure.
and again, I want to thank you for doing this.
Yeah, of
and
course. Thanks
I
for
hope
having me.
you'll come back. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I hope you'll come back.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some group episodes or
Okay.
group sessions where we can all talk about our experiences and how we got through that.
Sure.
So
Sounds good.
if you're interested, for those located in Arizona, I want to give you a shout out to your business.
Okay.
What is the name of your business?
It is Precious Paws Pet Sitting.
PreciousPawsPetSitting.com or Precious Paws
.biz.
.biz. Precious
Paws Pet Sitting .biz.
Love it. So if you're interested in some pet sitting services, that's what Heather does here
Thanks,
in
T.
North
You
Arizona.
didn't
You're
even give
welcome.
me a shout out.
Oh, hello, this is what we do. Okay. And if you're interested in following any of our platforms, we're on Facebook and Instagram at cancer_called, or you can visit us online at cancercalled.com. Again, shout out to everyone that has been supporting not only me, but anyone experiencing cancer. We look forward to seeing you on one of our platforms. Make sure you like us and comment below. See you next time.